Hey there.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
It's been a little hiatus.
Yeah, not too bad, but here we are, and we have a great guest today, and I'm excited to talk about something that is very
Near
close
and
to
dear
home.
to our hearts, unfortunately.
Yes.
But let's just catch up.
Okay.
So I was talking to someone today that I'm actually going to introduce to our guest after this recording. And she's like, well, what's your passion project? And I'm like, the To Get Her To podcast is my passion project.
Right.
It's not monetized. It's all about we're here together as women and we're going through life like everyone else is going through life. There's some really great things and sometimes there's really tough things. And you and I have kind of been moving through some different, health things a little bit. I've got a boot. I'm out of my cast.
I've got some autoimmune stuff going on, and that's but I mean it's all good, right? We're not victims of our circumstances.
We're not victims.
We play through.
You play through, but as I was telling you before, now I can walk, and I have been on my ass for 7 weeks, and so now I'm getting out, but then I'm like exhausted. I'm not used to the day in and day out. And so I have to give myself grace and keep moving forward. At the same time.
So I love this. So giving grace and moving forward is an amazing segue into our topic today,
let's do it.
Which is everything divorce, which is not what we ever set out to do when we get married. And I
never
doubt anyone ever gets married to get divorced. But it happens. It's happened to me twice. It is part of who I am now because I've gone through it twice. Neither time did I think I was going to end up divorced, right? And so giving yourself grace and moving forward in the middle of a storm
that
divorce
twice
can be
already.
Those are two really important things that we need to remember is we can continue to move forward. Life does not end. And we have to allow ourselves to take a moment and forgive ourselves for things we may have said or messed up on or felt. We got to give ourselves grace. So I love
lots
that.
of grace.
Yeah.
Lots of grace. So
let's
it's like it's a natural segue. Okay.
Right? Let's introduce
so
our guest.
Karen Covey, I met through the Dames group, and
the Dames group again for people who don't know what this is.
It is a group of badass women that are there to support.
All right, now here we go.
Updating or upgrading? Updating, I think. Close everything else out, And I'm gonna close my Wi-Fi off. I'll tell Lon. Maybe she's watching something. Oh my God.
Okay, we got kicked out.
Are you there, Karen? Hey, babe.
Yeah.
Are you watching a show or anything?
No, I'm listening in my headphones.
Okay, because we just got kicked off Wi-Fi Wi-Fi with our podcast. So I was gonna see. Do you mind, the call just ended.
What is happening here? Holy shit!
Can you go off Wi-Fi? Okay, thanks, babe. Bye.
That's so weird.
That's okay. It's not you. I don't know what the deal is, obviously. It just really drives me crazy. Oh shit, I'm calling Amanda. Sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know what's going on. Serious technical difficulties. Her Wi-Fi, I think, got glitchy, but then even her phone shut down on her. It's something really weird's going on. So maybe there's divorce spirits in the house. Maybe our
Sorry
exes
about
are
that.
coming back to haunt us or something.
Butt dial.
I
Butt
think
dial. Sorry about
Mercury
that.
is retrograde.
I think you're
Oh,
right.
there
think
you
you're
go.
right.
There you go.
So
That
we're just
explains
gonna
why.
we're gonna just start with your introduction, and we'll have Reese clip it.
Okay, perfect. Because we
Yeah.
still have it, you
Yes,
think?
yes.
Okay,
I think so.
perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so met Karen through the Dames group, and the Dames is a group of badass women who are all there supporting each other, sharing their resources, and uplifting them to the next level.
Awesome.
And I've
Love
loved
that.
it.
Love
And so
that.
these are people all over the nation and outside of the states.
Right.
So it's really been an amazing group.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Karen, we met and had a little connection call, and I went on her podcast and just loved her. I can't wait to have her tell us about how she got started and where she is, because she's a divorce attorney. Recovering now. Recovering. Like a recovering Catholic. And so we're going to hear more about her. And now she coaches people through the divorce process with that attorney mind, but a therapist's heart. And I love that tagline. I love it. It just says it all. I wish I could explain my business just in 4 words and everybody knew. So anyway, so Karen, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is wonderful to be here.
Well, it's taken mountains to make this happen, but we're here. We're here. So, okay, tell us your time as an attorney, and do you still practice, and how you got to this place?
Okay. My time as an attorney has been very long, but I started out with a big firm, then I went to the government, and then I opened up my own practice. And I said, I will take any kind of case there is except divorce.
Oh, really?
And you know what they say, when you make plans, God or the universe,
Yep.
whatever you call the power that is, laughs. Somebody was laughing at me because client after client kept coming in saying, hey, Karen, can you help me with my divorce? Hey, Karen, do you know a good divorce attorney? And finally, I was literally in my office. I went, okay, I got it. I'll do divorce.
That is so funny. Never say never. Never say never that you're never going to have a minivan, and guess what? You're going to get one.
Oh, yeah. A mom mobile.
So when did you take on divorces then? How far into your career was it?
Well, I had already been a lawyer for a decade before I opened my own practice. So I was a decade in. So I went to divorce, and I was a trial lawyer. I was like, put 12 in a box and let's rock and roll. And I tried.
Woo!
Yeah.
You know? And
I told you, badass.
I went into divorce court, and I looked around and well, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I was a lawyer, and it didn't make sense to me.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I said from the beginning, right out of the gate, there's got to be a better way. And so almost immediately, I became a mediator. I became a collaborative divorce professional. I became an arbitrator. I kept looking for that proverbial better way, right? Because the system that I saw, like, it's one thing to rip someone's face off in cross-examination when they did, like, something really horrible.
Yes.
But when it's your spouse and you got to go sit next to them at your kid's soccer game, there is no universe in which that makes sense. Like zero.
Oh, I love that.
So I said, okay, let me find the better way. And everything was better, but it wasn't really great. And finally, one day, I was in my office, and I always just wanted to have my own solo practice, right? So I was in my office. It was hot. The door was open. My secretary, who had worked previously for all the big divorce law firms in town, she was sitting at her desk outside the door. I do my thing. Client leaves. I come out, and she goes, you know nobody else does that, right? And I was like, no. She said, well, you just sat down and you
Consult
told
the
them,
therapy.
here's mediation, here's arbitration, here's collaborative, here's like all the things, and you can do this and you can do this, and here are your choices, and what do you want to do? And I said, well, if they're not doing that, what are they doing? And she said, here's a contract, sign here. And I was horrified because it's not my life. You know, yes, this is my area of expertise. Yes, my job and goal is to guide and advise you, but I can't decide for you. That's not right, I don't think.
Right.
Well, I realize that not all of my colleagues have a similar viewpoint as I do. And I also realize that as one person, I am not going to change the divorce system across the country.
Sure.
But I can change it for my clients.
Nice.
And that's what I started to do. I started to lean more heavily into the coaching, thinking initially I could do both, but it wasn't possible. I mean,
It wasn't.
Right.
it just,
Yeah.
law is too demanding. It's too last minute. I can
that's
have an
right.
entire like day planned tomorrow with coaching calls. 5 o'clock
Right.
today, I get a notice of emergency motion, and there goes my day. Right.
That's
So
right.
it
We talked
just
about that.
didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. You can't do well. So do you do 100% then this type of work and you've let the lawyer go, or do you still do some
I'd say,
law stuff?
yeah, I'd say it's probably 90 to 95% coaching. What I
Yeah.
will do for clients now, I won't take a case and actively represent someone now because it took me 3 years to work out of my practice.
Yeah.
Everybody says, "Oh, you know what? This one's going to be easy. We agree on everything. It'll only take a couple of months." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Did you say that? I said that.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody says that. That's what
Everyone
everybody
says that.
wants to believe, and it sometimes works out that way. Most of the
Right.
time, it does not. So
Yeah.
what I do for clients in the state of Illinois, because I'm only licensed in Illinois, is if you come to me midway through your divorce and you're like, I don't know if my lawyer has my back. Okay, give me all the paperwork, give me all the stuff. We'll sit down, we'll talk. I'll look at it all, and I will tell you, I will give you a completely independent opinion because I'm not taking your case no matter what.
Right.
Right? So, because the
Right.
problem with getting like a second opinion from another lawyer is you're never sure whether they're being totally honest with you or you're
Right.
just trying to get your business.
Yeah.
Right. But you're not getting it. Right. So they have that opinion. And for so many women, how is it mostly women that you work with, Karen?
I break out about 60-40, 60%
Okay.
women, 40% men.
Okay. So for a lot of us going through the divorce the first time, we don't know the options and the things to ask and the things to do and if we're getting screwed or if we're not. And I had an arbitrator. We were going through a mediation and she was an attorney and she was horrible. She did zero. And I gave her a retainer and then she gave me another bill for another, amount of money. And I said, I don't like to do bad reviews. I'm a business owner. But if I see this invoice again, you did nothing. The morning of our arbitration, it was 8:30 in the morning and I was calling her at 7:30. She had not contacted me. There was no prep. There was no game plan. There was nothing.
And
So
that makes me completely crazy because, look, for a lawyer, this is like, rolling out of bed in the morning. You do it all the time. You know how it's going to go. You're not
Right.
like, super nervous. But what they forget is it's the client's life. Like, I might know that tomorrow's court hearing is just a status call and nothing's going to happen, but you're not sleeping tonight because
No.
you don't know that and you can't be sure of that and you're nervous about this or that or the other thing. And lawyers across the board, across the country, prepare at the last minute. They're busy, they're overbooked.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what happened to you is not at all uncommon. I had a client, for example, who called me up and she was terrified because she was on disability, completely reliant on her husband's income. They were going through a divorce. Alimony maintenance, whatever you call it in the state that you're in, was super important to her, and the property division was super important to her, right? And so she and her husband would not negotiate. Like, period, full stop, we're going to trial. And so she called her lawyer, and she's like, I'm really nervous. Can we start to prepare? And the lawyer's like, yeah, don't worry. We'll get ready. Well, this was about, I'd say, 2 months before trial. She reaches out to me and said, will you help me prepare for trial? And I said, of course. I mean, I do that for, any one of my clients who wants it, right? How do you, how do you testify? How do you answer questions? What do you say? What do you not say? Like, that's what I do, or a big part of what I do. So I said, sure, no problem. But it would be better if your lawyer and I were on the same page.
Yeah.
So if I can talk to her, that would be great. If not, that's fine.
Right.
So she said, let me ask. She went to her lawyer, and her lawyer said, what? What a big waste of money. You don't need a divorce coach. I will prepare you for trial. This is ridiculous. So she comes back to me and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you have to make a decision. I will work with you behind the scenes either way. It would have been better if the lawyer was on board.
Yeah,
but if she's not, that doesn't mean that you're just screwed, right?
Right.
If you want me to work with you, I will. And she said, okay, fine. We worked for 2 months to get her prepped, to get her ready for her health, so she knew what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I said, your lawyer is going to prepare you the day before the hearing. And she's like, no, it has to be. And I said, you watch. Sure enough, trial date came. The day before was when her lawyer started to prepare her. Well, she was already prepared. And she walked in the courtroom that day like she owned it, because she was all ready. She had her ducks in a row, her documents in order. She knew what to say. She knew how to act. She knew all the things. And guess what? He took one look at her and he settled.
Wow.
Now, he would not have done that if she walked in like, oh my God. And she,
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
So, Karen, what would you say to women who may be younger, less experienced in life, who are in that similar situation where maybe they don't have the income generated from a full-time job, and they made an agreement as a partnership for her to raise the kids and stay at home. I mean, it happens a lot.
All the time.
And now she's in this situation where she doesn't know how she's going to afford the bills once he leaves or she has to move out. What would be your best piece of advice to women who feel stuck?
Knowledge is power. And so if you can get, like, what I help do for my clients is empower them, because it's learning life skills in the context of a divorce, but you keep using them moving forward. So does she have access to their financial data, her financial data, right?
Yeah.
Can she make a budget and a balance sheet? I can help her do that. Look at what can you afford, what can't you afford. Going through a divorce takes a team, right? And everybody says you need a CDFA, a financial advisor, and this and that. And yes, in a perfect world, that'd be great if you could have one. But first you need somebody to say, what am I dealing with? What can I afford? Do I really need a full-on financial advisor to look at what could be a very simple financial situation? Or am I trying to do on my own what's a very complicated situation, right? They don't know one way or the other. So it's about figuring out what's your next step, who do you need on your team? And if I'm doing my job as a coach, your lawyer's making less money. Because I'm teaching you, this is how to use your lawyer. This is how you ask questions. This is how you get data. This is what you can do yourself and bring to them, so you're not paying them to do it, right?
Right.
Wow.
And so, but it's, if you use the right professional in the right capacity, you go through this not only in a much smoother fashion, but it's less expensive and less time consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. So another situation that a friend of ours brought up. So she is seeing this happen, and the gal, my wax gal, is also having this issue. You know, we talk about things on the table. They're dragging the divorce on and on. Their spouse is dragging it on. They don't want it, but it's over. It's done. Sometimes not leaving the house, but just like, you know, there's a court date and everything's in line. And then they're like, well, I'm out of town for a business thing here. and they just keep dragging it on and on. What can you do in that situation?
That's a bad situation to be in, but it's not uncommon, unfortunately.
Okay.
And a lot has to do with the judge of who's the judge in your case. Because if the judge allows anybody to keep kicking the can down the road, continue the court date, you're stuck. But all you can do as a person is keep the pressure on. I want a court date. I want I want not just a court date.
Squeaky
you
wheel.
want a trial date. You want to set it for trial. It could be set for a hearing for this, that, or the other thing. That's great. When are we going to trial? Because at trial, the judge, if you can't make a decision beforehand, the judge will make it for you after a trial. So that's what you're going for. And the truth is 90% plus, maybe 95% of all divorce cases settle. And they can settle literally on the courthouse steps. I used to settle cases in the hallway before the trial.
Really?
All the time. Because
oh my gosh. So this example you told us about, where was that settled? Was that
in
settled
the courthouse.
before the court,
courthouse.
before the hearings
before the
trial?
What most judges will do too is look, they don't want to have to try a case like this because they, first of all, they've got plenty of cases to try. And second of all, if you can make a decision, that's always going to be better for you. And they know that, right? Yeah. So when you first go to trial, most of the time, and it might vary, from judge to judge, but the judge, the lawyers come in, they sit down and the judge is like, okay, are we ready? What's this case about? Fill me in, blah, blah, blah. And the judge is going to look at the lawyers and look at the people and say, can you settle this? And because if you can settle this, take 30 minutes right now, go out in the hallway and see what you can do. And that'll save me a full day of trial, and it'll save you a full day of trial. But if they can't, then the judge will say, okay, enough monkey business, let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you got a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Another question that came up was judges freezing your bank accounts after, you've actually, I'm not doing lawyer speak, but after you put the divorce in, it's in process, separation has happened, freezing funds, and then you didn't separate any funds out, and now you're stuck. You have no income. Does this happen a lot?
It does, but it happens in certain instances, but you are supposed to get notice of it. Right? Somebody filed a motion for it. Now, there are some, like, for example, in Illinois, there used to be a law that it was an automatic freeze, and then the legislators and the judges realized, like, that wasn't the best idea, and that's sort of went by the wayside. I can't speak to every state, right? So theoretically, it would be your spouse or their lawyer who would file a motion to freeze everything for some reason. There's got to be a reason to do that, right?
Okay, right.
There was some monkey business, or there's missing money, or somebody took something. Right. So, there's supposed to be a reason. But once that freeze is in effect, then if you don't have enough money to, say, for instance, pay your bills or run your business, then it's up to you to go back to your lawyer and say, you got to get this order modified so that we can have, because a lot of times what the judge will do is they'll freeze everything, and then the other side will say, wait, I can't run my business. And so the judge will make an exception for the operating fund for the business or normal expenses or blah, blah, blah. They'll work it out because they want you making money, because if you're not making money, you can't pay for anything.
That's right.
Right. Exactly. So it sounds like a lot of this comes down to sometimes the judge, which we don't have a lot of control of. Or is there no control?
No control.
No control. Just
which is why I say to people, stay out of court.
Yes.
If you never go to the judge in the first place, then you don't have to worry about what are they going to do. And judges, fundamentally, they do the best they can, but they're as human as everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm guessing you've seen in all your years' experience the spouses who just won't let it go.
Yes.
And they want the good fight just to prove
Yep.
that they can have the upper hand.
Usually they want the good fight till they get the big bill.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually is an incentive for people when they get the bill to say, okay, this is stupid. The bigger issue is when you've got people who've got a lot of money and they don't care about the big lawyer.
They don't care
right.
about big bill. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, and I've had an experience, unfortunately, a couple times where there's emotions involved, of course, right? And they're heavy, and we think we were going into it amicable, but then emotions come up and brings up triggers. And then we kind of just said, you know what? Let's just take a pause. And it was around this time a year, you know, let's just get through the holidays. Let's take a pause and come back to it. And the other relationship I was in, we weren't married, but we had to settle. And he was, you know, being very not nice. And I was like, do you want to work through this, or do you want to just have a war? And he was kind of, you know, back talking and all kinds of stuff. And I just said to myself, you know what? This is him triggered. And I'm not going to respond for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just going to let the dust settle. And that tactic seemed to work in that situation, because he came around and he's like, okay, I'm in the right heart space. I'm ready to go through this.
Good. I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense, because physiologically what happens when somebody's triggered, when they're upset, emotional, like all your stress hormones, you know, fire. They're flooding your body and they're flooding your brain. And when your brain is flooded with stress hormones, you literally can't think.
Cannot.
Your prefrontal cortex goes offline. It shuts down. And so you're making decisions from an emotional place, or you're reacting from an emotional place instead of acting with intentionality and purpose, which is what you want to do. So,
and resourcefulness, and you know, being open to different perspectives, and
100%. So taking a break was actually a really brilliant thing to do, because that gives people enough time to calm down. And when they calm down and they can just let those stress hormones flood out of their brain, then they can start acting rationally and saying, okay, this is really stupid. This is not helpful. Let's start again. Let me get in the right heart space, as he put it. I think you did great.
What would you say, you made mention to this earlier, of people who are kind of stuck in their marriages.
Yes.
And divorce is front of mind, but maybe they haven't had the conversation. Maybe they're afraid to bring it up, but they know this is not a healthy partnership anymore. They know that they're not living their best life or even close to it. Maybe it's even an abusive relationship, and it's scary, right? And it's based on fear of what happens if I try to leave. What advice do you have, again, particularly for women who may not think they have the resources?
They're golden handcuffs.
To leave.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to separate out the domestic violence issues, because if your physical safety or the safety of your children or your pets is being threatened, in my humble opinion, you just got to get out. Like, nothing else matters. If you're dead, you don't care about the money, or you don't care about anything else. So you've got to take steps to ensure your physical safety. That having been said, that's an extremely difficult situation to get out of.
Yes, it is.
Just statistically, women get out, come back multiple times. And the most volatile times are when you're just leaving or when you're filing, right? Or at the very end. Those tend to be the really hot times in a domestic violence situation. If any of your listeners are in that situation, or you know someone in that situation, you got to get help. You cannot do it alone. Go to a domestic violence shelter, talk to a counselor, and for that person, more than anyone else, you need to pre-plan. You got to get your ducks in a row, because once you get out, you're not going back.
So what if they don't have access to their financials? What if the spouse has the passwords and the usernames to all of their bank accounts? What if they don't know and can't see? What then?
Again, it comes down to planning. You've got to decide if you're willing to go no matter what, right? I don't know, like if you're in that situation, you can say, I don't know how much money we have, I don't know what, but I know I've got to get out of this and I'll start figuring it out. You can use the court process and the court system to send subpoenas to banks, to ask your spouse for financial documentation and information. And is that the best way to do it? No, it's expensive. It takes a long time, and people play games with that all the time. But, that's why it's better if you can get the financial information on the front end. That's always a better thing. But if you can't let that hold up your life forever, right? You're going to be stuck because he won't give you passwords. That's silly.
Right.
Right? You do what you've got to do. You make your plan. And I know I had a story of a woman, she was on my podcast a couple years ago, and she was in an abusive situation. And he was financially abusive to the point her credit score was 0. He didn't exist. He never let her have a credit card or a bank account or like nothing. So as far as the credit bureaus were concerned, she was a non-existent person. And she was a stay-at-home mom, and she raised the kids. And so what she would do was scrape a little money off the side whenever she could.
Yes, exactly.
Get cash back from the thing, buy, credit, the debit cards. Oh, what a sweetie.
This is Gunner, and Gunner loves Mindy.
Well,
my goodness.
He apparently likes to talk about divorce too.
and he likes to be the star of the show in the middle of the podcast.
Well, he certainly is. But so this woman, over the years, she decided and knew she was going to go, but she wanted to wait till her youngest was 18 because she was afraid for them too. Yes. So she just, for a decade, she'd save a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. By the time she moved out, she had 30 grand.
There you go.
Wow. And so the moral of the story there is, for all the women, you should know your finances. You should know the passwords. Yep. A lot of us I know are like, I don't want to know. Just tell me we're okay. And I don't want to know the finances.
Unfortunately, that's true.
But you have to get involved. You have to know that stuff. Well, even if somebody passes, it's a nightmare.
Right.
Everyone, knowledge is power, to your point, Karen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So what is the thing that you think helps people the most? Advice you give people going through this, process or decision to divorce? What's the thing people are like, oh, wow, that just made the difference to me? What's the best advice you give usually?
I think it's been what we've been talking about is preparation and planning. Yeah. And it sounds horrible. Like you plan your divorce. Oh my gosh, how long have you been planning? It sounds really cold and calculated.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But most people spend at least a year planning their wedding.
Yeah.
To think good point. You don't have to plan your divorce is being a little bit naive, right?
Yeah,
you're right.
And it doesn't mean that you have to plan to screw your spouse. That's not what I'm talking about. But you have your financial documents if you can get them. You've got the passwords. You've got a credit score, where you're at that way. Sometimes maybe you can't afford to get divorced right now because your spouse is the primary or maybe the only breadwinner, and there's just not going to be enough money to go around. Well, maybe part of your planning is you go out and get a part-time job.
Yeah.
Or you find a way to get yourself on your feet financially. So there's a lot that goes into planning, but if you are willing to put some time into planning, and not wait until you're so angry and resentful of your spouse that you just want to punch his lights out and be done, right?
Yeah. You don't want to get to that point.
You don't want to get to that point.
It can be very bad.
And start early and make a plan. And what I've found in my own life and for my clients is that if you know what you want to do and you're clear on what you want to do, even if you can't do it today, but you have a plan for I'm going to get there. It's like losing weight, right? I wish so much that we could just like wave the magic wand and boom, all the weight's gone instantly, and then you diet to do it later. You know, it's like I'll do all the hard work, but I just want the result right away.
Yeah,
It doesn't work that way in dieting or anything else. So it's about putting the plan in place, putting in the reps at the gym, doing all the things, and then you get the result at the end. This is no different.
Yep. I love that. I would love to hear your experience with people going through this who are so afraid to pull the plug because of pride or I'm embarrassed.
Shame,
feeling like it's
guilt.
their fault. Not wanting the kids to go through
the
it.
kids,
Right? All of the things that make us second guess our
the kids.
self in taking that next step to be happier.
Is there a good time to have a divorce?
Yeah.
There's never a good time to do a hard thing. It's always going to be hard. And people who say they wait until their kids are 18, that's a thing that a lot of parents do. Sometimes, like the story I just told, it makes sense. But a lot of times it doesn't, because here's the problem. Your youngest child turns 18, goes off to college. 3 months later, you call them up, or 2 months later, you say, hey, we're getting a divorce. Do you think your child is stupid? Do you think they didn't figure out that mom and dad were suffering because of me? That's the interpretation. And so they, then they feel guilty and they feel bad, and they look back at their life and say, was my whole childhood a lie?
Yep.
How long were you putting up a front, and what was real and what wasn't? And their trust in you, in themselves, in relationships in general, like it all goes right out the window.
I've got a couple friends who that happened to, and they feel exactly that
really
way. Yes.
Really, they were the kid.
Oh yes.
Wow, that's really interesting, because I was thinking more in the realm of, you're in this relationship that's not good. You're giving your kids an example of a relationship that is not good.
That too.
There's possibly fighting going on. That's not healthy for your kids
Or
either.
no fighting at all.
Or no fighting.
And just pushing things under the rug.
Yeah.
To pacify situations.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
like, you're
There's that
teaching
too.
your kids.
Yeah.
Kids don't learn by what you say, they learn by what you do and what they see. And so you want to think that you're trying to keep everything calm and peaceful for them.
Right.
But what you're really teaching them is that their feelings don't matter, that in a relationship it's okay to,
be walked
tell
on,
the
or
truth and be walked on, or, have whatever the bad situation is that you're dealing with that you would never want to wish on them. So here's the question for somebody who's hesitant to get a divorce because of the kids. Here's the question that I'd like to ask them.
all right, I want to know, what is it?
If this situation that you're in, if that was your child, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because most parents are not going to say to their kid, oh yeah, stay in a really bad relationship. Just,
that's right.
Oh, it's okay.
Some of them will, but not all. Yeah.
And so it's like to put themselves in to think of their children in a different way. Would they want this relationship for their children? If the answer is no, then why are you doing it to yourself?
Yeah. I remember my first divorce. I was just a mess because I was the only one in the entire family, extended and immediate, who, was even thinking about going through a divorce. So I felt like the failure. And I remember calling my mom and just crying. And she's a straight shooter. And she finally said, are you done? And I said, I think so. And she goes, good, because you're the only one of the family who's getting divorced. You know how many of us should have been divorced by now?
Oh, love that.
And boy, did that set me straight. And I'm like, I can do this. Okay.
So
it was like giving me that permission.
Right.
To do something other people just weren't ready or couldn't do themselves.
Or didn't have the courage.
Didn't have the courage.
Which makes me think, it's like, choose your hard. Like you said, divorce is going to be hard.
No matter what.
Choose your hard.
Yeah.
Are you going to be living in a loveless marriage where you're not living your best life, you know it, and the years are passing you by? Or are you going to go through 2 years of hardship and rebuild yourself?
Yep.
And I feel like, and I said this on your podcast a lot, and I had an interesting situation with Jim's disability, but I felt horrible about it. And it took a lot of freaking courage
Oh yeah.
to make that decision and to not turn my head on something that I saw so clearly and knew that chapter had closed. And a lot of us turn our head and just sit in it, and maybe we feel like we have golden handcuffs, or we don't want to disappoint people.
Yeah,
when
for
we're
sure.
disappointing ourselves
For sure.
and showing our kids something. And so for the women who do make the decision to go through it, it takes a lot of courage.
100%. It's really hard. And especially, you talk about golden handcuffs. Let's just talk reality. Whatever money you're using to support a family, when you get a divorce, that family breaks into two households.
Right.
Now the same amount of money is going
That's
to be, having to pay bills for two households. So everybody's standard of living is going to take a hit for a while. But the question is, what's your personal happiness worth? What's the happiness of your kids worth? And the longer you stay in a marriage that isn't working, the more of your life that you waste. I mean, one thing is for sure, we all want love. We all want connection. We all want a partner that we can count on. If you do not have that, and you're but you stay married, you're never going to have it unless something changes in the marriage, right?
Yeah.
By getting divorced, to your point, Natalie, you may go through 2 years of hell, but on the other side of that, now you have an opportunity to have the life that you want. And let me be clear. I mean, if you're not sure whether your marriage can be fixed, well, 100% go look into that first.
Yeah. First, right.
Divorce is no, barrel of laughs, right?
No.
You don't want to do it if you don't have to. So sometimes putting in the hard work into the marriage is your bet. That's what you should do. It's the best thing you can do. But if you've done that, if you've tried that, and it just hasn't worked, and you know in your gut, in your
gut, yes,
that this isn't going to work, then the most people say, do people regret their divorce afterwards? And the truth is, a very small percentage of them, a few, do. But most people, their biggest regret is, I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that's mine.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Both
Both
times.
Yeah.
I probably filed 3 years after I should have. At least.
Wow.
If not earlier than that.
Yeah.
I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't want to be, especially your second one then.
You didn't want to accept
I'm just
it.
a big failure now.
Yeah, right.
I can't keep anything going. And you beat yourself up. And I say to all women, especially who are listening, like, you will beat yourself up. Like, again, give yourself grace.
Find a good therapist and a good friend and a good
alone.
Divorce coach.
Right.
And it takes a village.
Yeah.
And I think about what I went through, and I tell people, and I think I said it on your podcast, like, it was really freaking hard. And I lost things I didn't think I was going to lose, but I gained things I didn't think I was going to gain. And I would do it again.
And that says it all. But the whole idea of being a failure, I'm sorry, but I take issue with that. And I know that's what our society teaches.
Right.
I want to hear. Yeah.
Why are you a failure? Because one relationship didn't last till the day you died. In what other context are you asked to make a promise, a pledge, when you're 20 or 30 or however old, that lasts for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Comes in, you can never change your mind. You can never change the relationship. Like, you're just stuck till death do you part.
oh, by the way, you're going to change and evolve as a person.
Yeah, and they may not with
5
you.
to 10 times during that
but they may
span.
not, and you still have to stay side by side.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
it is crazy.
just because the marriage, I'm using air quotes, failed, that doesn't mean you are a failure. It means that relationship just didn't last forever. It didn't fail. It made you, I bet you had some beautiful times together. You wouldn't have gotten married if you didn't like the person, didn't love the person. Right?
Yes.
You had great times. You maybe had great kids from it. There was a lot of good. Why does one day, one thing that the marriage can't go on the way it is, so we're going to end that. Why does that erase a lifetime of good?
Yeah. It's just a chapter ending. And for some people, like you said, there has to be good times in your marriage because you wouldn't have married him. And for Gemini, there was so many good times. It wasn't all bad. We started Pacific Perks together. We pivoted around his illness in incredible ways and taught our kids perseverance. It was just a chapter that needed to be closed. But the first year or two, I had to talk myself through it daily, if not several times a day.
Yeah. Karen, and now we only have a few more minutes, and I want to hear if you've seen any trends as of late that have kind of changed the course of how divorce is being handled. I mean, our world is changing; it's evolving faster than we can evolve. How has this evolution of social media and feeling disconnected from the world and political polarization and the pandemic, how has that affected trends in your world?
Wow. How much did we have? So, all right. Trends in general. With people living longer these days, and COVID sort of spurred this on, there's a gray divorce revolution, right? There are more people, people say the divorce rate is rising. That's not true. The divorce rate actually has been going down since the 80s.
Oh, okay.
In every category except one, people over 50. In the
I have
people
heard that.
over 50 group, the divorce rate is doubled, and for over 60, it's tripled.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the only growing divorce rate.
Why is that?
Because people are living longer and they get to that point in their life. The kids are grown and gone. They look at their spouse who they've grown apart from, and the relationship hasn't been good for a long time, but they could distract themselves with other things. And then all of a sudden they're looking at this person going, I don't know how much time I have left on the planet, but I know I don't want to spend it all with you.
Yeah.
And women in their 50s, that's the gift, and 60s is like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep.
What have I been doing? And I'm not doing this anymore. And I really feel like women in their 40s, mid 40s, I know I was like, holy cow, I have been living a codependent relationship, me part of it. What? I can't do this anymore. We kind of like have this awakening.
Yep. 100%. And so that's sort of the biggest overall trend. COVID either made or broke your marriage. You were stuck inside together, and you either had to deal with each other, and for some couples it actually made their marriage better because they had to deal with all the garbage that they were sweeping under the rug.
Yep.
And for most couples, it was like, oh, I can't do this anymore, right?
Yes,
and they became, and especially the people, like if one spouse was having an affair, COVID kind of put a cramp in their style, and it's kind of funny. But so COVID did a lot in terms of forcing your hand one way or the other. Social media, that's a whole other discussion. That just opened Pandora's box.
Right.
In terms of, first of all, before 50 years ago, if you didn't see somebody you went to high school with again, of course you didn't. You didn't even know where. Now it's like, why they're so bored? Let me go on Facebook and look for my high school sweetheart. High school sweetheart, for Christ's sakes. But
What about your 6th grade sweetheart?
You
My
know?
God. You're kind of speaking to the choir a little bit here, but yes,
And so
that is funny.
it gives you the opportunity to rekindle things that otherwise you might not have had, right?
Yeah.
And social media also is like a playground for divorce lawyers because people do stupid things and they post it on social media. My personal favorite, I had a
Oh,
case as a lawyer where I was
oh my
representing
gosh.
the wife, and the husband was like, he was in the trades, and he was like, I can't work. I have a hip problem. You know, I need a hip replacement, and I can't work, and I don't have any money. And his kids were literally starving. Like she didn't have money to put food on the table. And she goes on he had blocked her on Facebook. Well, you can't block all her friends, the whole world. So one of her friends went and took screenshotted Facebook. He had gone to Colorado with his new girlfriend and climbed a mountain. The man who needed a hip replacement and couldn't work. You're like, really, dude? Really?
Oh, yeah. So it's outed people in lots of ways as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that is funny. And what would
Wow.
you say the average length of a divorce takes?
It depends if it's going to be amicable or not. COVID, another thing COVID did, I mean, courts were backed up to begin with, and COVID
Oh
didn't help.
gosh.
So, an average divorce, if everything is agreed from start to finish, could be, 3 to 6 months. If it's not agreed, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Ugh.
Wow.
And, and here's the other thing, too. You've got to know what you're defining as being in the divorce, because it's one thing to say, if you count from the time you say, honey, I want a divorce till the day you're done, that's longer than people think it's going to be. But if you're just counting from when did you file in court till when did the court say your divorce was done, that's a shorter period of time.
Right.
Well, I go by the first one because that's when
Your
the courage
emotions
starts.
change
That's
and-
when the pain and the hardship, you got to do the hard work
Yes.
at that point.
And for most people, that's going to be a couple of years. And
Yeah.
Yes.
nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants to believe it or hear it, but it's true.
No, it's
And
true.
Karen, one of the things that I definitely want to bring up, because you've probably seen it and worked through others with, is that grief that you experience. Whether you were the one to initiate the divorce or not, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
That grief is real.
Oh.
And I went through my second divorce and my dad passing within months of each other. And I will tell you that the grief of my divorce was worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's something, because I knew my dad was probably passing, I emotionally planned for it. I don't know that I ever thought I would be divorced twice. And so that really hit me hard when I made that bold decision. It was an obvious decision to make, but I made it. And the grief I felt was so heavy. And I want other people to know that that is something that they have to be prepared to process
Yep.
and work through. Not to blow it off,